Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. And today I'm very excited because, as you know, all my guests are from around the world, whether it's from Europe or down in Australia, or maybe they even come from Africa. The great part about being on the internet is you can talk to these people. And that's what I'm so excited to do today, because today is a little different story. This is a gentleman born in Nashville, Tennessee, moved to Pakistan, came back to America for college, had an inspiration, chased the girl, wound up in Napa Valley, and now is there today, kicking butt with an amazing company called KG Food Company. And his entrepreneurial passion, for kind of lack of a better term, it just led him to these great products that we're going to help talk about, because I'm actually excited to try them and help with my own fitness journey. And so today, I'm going to bring on to the show the most amazing, the most talented Fahad Ahmad. How are you, Fahad?
I'm doing great. It's wintertime in Napa, California. We're just finished with our harvest, and the rain's pouring like it's crazy, slowly and surely. So staying indoors, staying warm, and enjoying every single day like it's the last day ever.
Wow. So let's see, as we record this in the New Orleans area, it's sunny and 80 degrees. We have yet to have any type. Well, we had a day in the 30s last week. This is typically what we do. So we don't have winters. We just have mild falls and crazy springs.
Just to throw a little bit of a curveball here, I was raised in a British schooling system, so when people start saying Fahrenheit, it flies over my brain.
So, that's Celsius then, and math is not my strong point, which is why I am in health and fitness and can only count to 15. And then that's where I stop. So this will never be a podcast about math, and I am perfectly happy to never do that. So let's talk, Fahad. Let's find out a little bit about what kind of got you started in 2017 to start KG Food Company.
Right. So let's set the stage over here. In 2015, or roughly about 14 actually, my father had passed away, and I started my car business using just one bucket and $12,000 in cash. And there was my mother who I had to take care of. I brought her over here into California alongside with me. And so I started making some good money. I had the option to find a job when I started my business, but I applied to so many places back then, I couldn't find a job. So I was like, all right, let's just bulldoze forward and start a business instead. So fast forward a few years, I'm doing well. I got my things together. I moved back into the city of Napa proper as well, got my place, everything settled. And then one day I was listening to this podcast by a guy called Tim Ferriss. I'm sure some of your listeners are aware of who he is. And
Probably.
He had this guy on his show called Dr. Dominic D'Agostino. And he was talking about ketogenic diets and certain applications in terms of cancer, diabetes controls, and fat loss. And so I got really inspired by that. And because I'm one of those people who likes to bring value to people's lives, I want to do something more, leave a bit of a legacy for people to remember. So that translated into making, first of all, actually, I adopted sort of like the ketogenic diet, the low carb lifestyle for a bit, and then started making some products. And one day I took the product thinking it would be a nice little bar, took it to the yoga studio that I used to go to, and the bars consistently melted because of the high fat content. Now, the gals over there, the fine young ladies, told me that, hey, if it's melted, just leave it melted and just sell it as is. So instead of a bar, it became a pod. And that's how the product came into being. And then simultaneously, quite like yourself, I started doing podcasting. And honestly, it was more like I'm reading somebody's book, some author, and I'll be like, hey, that's an interesting guy. Maybe I should talk to him on my show. And I would bring that person onto my podcast and have some questions with them. So that was sort of like a two-tier, two-step, if you want to call it, business idea of Keto Geek was the original name, by the way.
Keto
And we
Geek.
just, yeah,
Nice,
Keto
nice,
Geek.
nice.
There's a bit of a story back there too, over a bunch of, I think it was like red wine and a chef. So anyway, so that was the origin story of the business, and then the energy pods, and we've been doing quite well. COVID hit a pause button for us, and we had to do slow down production. In 2021, we also faced a bit of a setback in terms of the fact that we changed our processing as well. And so, right now we're getting back into the gears, retrofitting a facility, and slowly and surely scaling up. So that's the product in a nutshell, figuratively and literally.
Right, right. So your mission is to wield the power of information, top-notch food products to fight chronic disease. And chronic disease is obviously prevalent in a lot of ways, with whether it's chronic pain, obesity, diabetes, things like even dementia, cancer. So food and nutrition is highly related to all the above, because what we eat directly affects the cells in our body. Are we become cancer hotbeds, or do we become cancer fighting hotbeds through what we have, antioxidants? Are we having highly processed foods, fats, sugars, things like that? So with you, I love your story about these things because you are ketogenic. So it's, obviously very low carb, high fat, or not as high fat, but low carb. And so which gets the body to use fat for energy, right? Because that's what we want to do at the end of the day to help with things like weight loss, is make our bodies burning fat instead of having to always ingest carbs for that outside energy. So how does that kind of play into, we did podcasting and nutrition and food. So as you're doing your yoga and you're doing your strength training, what did you find was some of these inspirations to create foods like this that are more ketogenic, that could be used and consumed by everybody?
Absolutely. Fantastic question. So one of the focal point of my diet, and one thing that I encourage a lot of people, is to build around protein, because those are the building blocks that everybody needs, and then go from there. One of the big challenges I was facing was that I was working 10, 12-hour workdays for my car business, and that was a huge day. And then on top of that, in the mornings, I would also do Ashtanga yoga. And on top of that, I might even sprinkle in strength training at a local gym. Now, Ashtanga yoga is a very unique form of yoga, if your listeners are interested. It is a sequence of movements that is consistently refined and evolved over time. It's sort of like a higher tier, not, oh, that sounds elitist, doesn't it? But it's a more advanced form of vinyasa yoga in the context of how it can really push your body to its limits. So
Mhm.
I was breaking myself every single day. Now, another thing, as an entrepreneur and people who have a busy life schedule, as many of your listeners might be, the challenge that they face is that you have to make sure that you're getting the right amount of nutrition while at the same time participating in all these activities. Time is of the essence. Cooking becomes sometimes a little bit challenging. And let's say that you're working an 8, 10 hour workday. In between the day, you'll take an hour break. But here's the problem. It takes sometimes 15 minutes to drive to a place, 15 minutes to eat food, 15 minutes to come back, and so forth. By the time you're done, your entire break time is taken. Now,
Right.
being the crazy rational person that I am, and a lot of other people, the goal was to hack this and somehow throw in a nutrition nuke in the middle of the day that will be a holdover till later in the day. Then I can have my proper meal in front of the grill, build my diet around the protein, sort of like that OMAD diet that some of the people follow, like one meal a day style. So
Mhm.
that became sort of my mantra when it comes to diet and nutrition. And that helped me significantly with recovery, because I would get more time to rest. With my social life, I would have maybe half an hour a day extra to spend with my friends or family. So that was the starting point of this whole transition to making my diet more efficient, focusing on high quality foods rather than going out there and getting foods that might not be as optimal. So, yeah, everything went positive then.
Awesome. So two major products are your energy pods and then Coco Zen. And so if you go to kgfoodco.com, you can see Fahad's amazing products here. And what I can describe energy pods are like like pudding. It looks like a chocolate pudding that comes with its own little spoon, I guess, right? And you can just spoon it out, kind of like you can get the old, not the old, but peanut butter, like little individual sized peanut butters. But this looks even better because one is chocolate, and it's an easy way, whether you're at room temperature or a little colder, a little warmer, excuse me, to just have a great snack.
Absolutely. And this is, you've hit the nail on the head over here. So, one of the things that I wanted to have, as crazy as it sounds at that time, was have chocolate every single day and not feel too
Right.
bad about it. So, one of the things that we did was basically turn as many ingredients in a chocolate bar and turn them into nutrition if possible. So, for example, replacing the sugars with sugar free sweeteners instead of milk powder, which is a component in many chocolate bars, using whey protein isolate, which is the purest form of protein that is available industrially that we have access to. And then instead of empty fats, we used almond flour, which is more nutritious. So these are little baby steps that we took to enhance the nutritiousness of a quote unquote chocolate bar. Another problem with chocolate bars is that those things can melt. When
Right.
you're out and about, and especially if you're in Arizona or anywhere in California or in Texas, in any of these warmer places, or in summertime, your bar is going to melt. So this kind of solved the problem because the product is staying inside the cup itself. Now, let's say you want to use it as a dip. Personally, I like to dip dark chocolate into the pods as well. So call me crazy, but that's kind of like one of the things I like to do. And then strawberries, maybe if somebody's not ketogenic, they can add their carby stuff in there as well. Some runners might appreciate it. They could just slather it on top of a banana. So
Hmm.
even though the product itself is baseline low carb keto, I'm not married to the idea of ketogenic and low carb itself. I think it's more about empowering other people to maximize their performance, their lifestyles. Because if I see them grow, that makes me happy.
That's awesome. And you're right. There's lots of ways to skin the cat. What is right for you in whatever your lifestyle is right now? And that's what I try to talk about in the show. What we go over may not be right for you currently, but it may be right for you soon. And that's why I give all this great information, based on science, which is what your company is about. And then your Coco Zen, which is a chocolate almond butter. And almond butter is very popular. There's various nut butters out there, but tell us a little bit about what makes your Coco Zen so fantastic.
One of our friends slash influencer who is in Indiana, name's Dustin. And he said that he wanted a larger version of the pod, but at the same time, something that is more connected, that allows a connection to the larger audience. It's not
Hmm.
exactly a meal replacement product. So we took the initial formulation of the energy pods and basically made it larger, more
Hmm.
smoother, so it's spreadable. We did make it significantly sweeter because notice how whenever you have a spread, it needs to be a little bit on the sweeter side, or else it's going to be very bland when you add it to some stuff. So we made it a little bit sweeter and so forth. So it's kind of like similar to the pod, but like 12-ounce version of it.
Right.
What makes it unique is that it has a more expressive chocolate flavor. It's more thicker and richer in its texture, so it feels more hearty. And we have added a lot more almond flour and almonds in it. A lot of spreads, their first ingredient is a sweetener or a filler. Our first ingredient is almond flour. So we're focused on a nutritious backbone more so than the flavor, though the flavor is pretty damn good. That's what we've been told. We even take, here's the fun part, is like we take our products to a place called, an event called Taste of Napa by Festival
Hmm.
Napa Valley.
Hmm.
And it's hilarious because everywhere else you have these food and wine companies, and then you have energy pods and Coco Zen as a nutritious health food product, and it sells over there. So it's been battle tested through some Napa taste buds. So I'm
I,
proud of that.
I love that. And you do see funky stuff at various food and wine festivals, and you go, what the hell is that doing here? That's not really what you might think like a food, and it sure as hell ain't a wine or a beer or a scotch or a vodka, but you taste it, and maybe because you're a little tipsy, maybe because you're a little something else too on top of it, and you're like, wow, this shit's pretty good. So I love how you put all that in there because being in New Orleans here, food is what we do. Right? We firmly believe that there is no other food better on the face of the planet than what comes out of our restaurants and from our local farms and various companies. So I love that you combine what's going on in Napa, rich culinary history there, lots of great wines that go all over the world, the foodie lifestyle, while look, we stay lean, and that's why I tell people all the time. They look at me. One guy said the other day, he was at a golf tournament. He looked at me, and said, "When's the last time you had bread?" I said, "Like this morning, dude. It was this morning, 3 hours ago." So it's not like we have to cut off having fun. So kind of tell us a little bit how you do all that and still stay lean yourself.
That's a fantastic question as well. So, going back to the whole point of building around protein. So, here's what my day would look like, just to sort of add a little bit more practicality into the context here. So, I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the crazy person, the morning person, and then go work out or do my yoga class at 5. And then once I come back, I will have some eggs because eggs are awesome.
Right.
And so this is all done before the day even starts. We're talking before 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I will have certain bars, certain nutritious bars that I vet through via ingredient, their protein content, their sugar content, and so forth, and the fat content as well, by the way, because I have to stay lean, right? And fat is the most dense form of calories. So I'll take that, maybe snag an energy pod if I'm feeling like I need that chocolate itch met. And so I'll take that during my day, and then I'll plow through 10 hours of workday, 8 hours of workday, depending on how long I'm going to be going for. And then on top of that, I don't drink coffee, but I consume a lot of caffeine through certain energy drinks, pre-workouts, and those kind of things. Now, this is a lot of taboo stuff that I'm throwing in there, but that's kind of like this weird, crazy habit that, we're entrepreneurs, right? We're supposed to be a little bit crazy.
Right.
So that's the kind of crazy life or diet that I have for the first half of the day, more like till 4 or 5 in the morning. And then after that, I'll just come home and then I will take some lean protein, fire up the grill, and then start, sprinkling in some seasonings and prepare the meat. And then once the grill is fired up, I put it on there and then make the food, put some zucchini alongside it, some greens on it, and they go on top of the grill as well. And it gives a nice respite from the day as well. Because if you're working a lot, then you're sitting by the fire, the grill is warm, and you just have a nice little cozy break. And if somebody's feeling like the Napa vibes going on, then you can pull out a nice glass of wine and just sip slowly and surely as the day closes. So that happens at about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And then after that, if I feel like I want a dessert, I normally just have a bar again. I know it's really boring the way I eat it, but just to save myself over here, sometimes my friends are feeling a little antsy. They're like, hey, let's go out and have a drink. So I will go out there and have a drink. I will have a dessert. I will have the culinary experience of Napa. We have Michelin star restaurants there, so why not experience the entire culture?
Right.
But you might notice that there's a backbone here. There's a very smart backbone that's built around low calories, adequate protein, and nutritiousness that's going on under this entire infrastructure. And then on top of that, social life is full on go mode. I will enjoy every day if I can. So that's how I do it. I used to track calories a while back, but because I've gotten so used to this lifestyle and I'm confidently happy at being like 10 to 12% body fat, that I've just stopped calculating calories. But definitely I've found that a lot of people can benefit from that though.
Right. And you nail it on the head. Same thing. Those people that do know me know I don't pass up a meal. And on the weekends, I don't pass up a drink. Right. So you can do this. And the key thing is that M word called moderation. And it's moderation about everything. It's not about extreme. That's what, not extreme keto. It's not extreme this. It's not extreme veganism. It's what works for you right now. And taking all these ideas, hey, if you want some plant-based meals, please do that. Tons of great information, lots of great ways to eat on a plant-based lifestyle. Fantastic. Pescatarian, you want to be meatitarian, as I like to say. Whatever it is, there's ways to do it. Still enjoy your life. I just turned 50 this year. So you're right. It's not about, well, shit, I can't do anything now. I have to be here a strict like a nun or a monk. Hey, if you like that lifestyle, great. But for me, hell no. That's why I live in New Orleans. I like Mardi Gras. I'm in a Mardi Gras crew. I do all of it. And so I love hearing that from you, that other people are enjoying your life, but still making great choices along the way and figuring it out. Because, right, at the end of the day, how many days do we have left? In a sense, we don't know. So enjoy what you can, in everything that you do. So I love it, Fahad. So as we wrap up right now, tell people how they can find you, follow you, if they know about kgfoodco.com. What's the other great ways?
So KG Food Co. is obviously the best way to do it. And then you can find us on Instagram as well. I believe it is kg.foodco is the handle over there. And if you just plug it into Google, you'll see all of the stuff over there. If you plug in energy pods, you'll find a whole plethora of stuff. But generally, KG Food Co., KG Food Company, those are the handles that we use on all of our socials. When we can actually have KG Food Co., we use that, but a lot of the times we don't get that. Sometimes people have already stolen that one, so I have to make certain compromises there. So that's how you can find me. We will soon be coming up with our own podcast, and I believe I'm going to hijack Matt as well as one of the guests.
Sure. So before you say that, and those of us that are of my age, when I respond back to you and say, El Guapo, would you say I had a plethora? You remember that from the Three Amigos. And because you said it, anytime I hear that word, I have to throw that back out at people. So I love that movie. Anyways. Whew.
Yeah.
Such a great, fantastic movie.
Yeah, so that would be the best way to find out and find what we're up to. And yeah, go make the world a better place.
I love it. So yes, I will be on your show. We will see how we can swap some good info on that one. And I am following Fahad also on my Twitter, which is Matt Peel, on Facebook, Athlete in the Game of Life for mine. And then on my Instagram, which is Matt Peel CES. So I follow Fahad. And he also has a YouTube, which is KG Food Co., youtube.com/KG Food Co. And I guess you're on LinkedIn as you?
As me, and the company is there. KG Food Company is on there too.
Okay, cool. So reach out to him wherever you enjoy. And then, Fahad, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So this is Matt Peel with the Peel podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening today from Fahad out there in Napa Valley, and I am here in the New Orleans area. And until next time, I look forward to hearing from you, and have a fabulous day.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.